All right, so this has been my experience with YouTube Shorts and how YouTube Shorts kind of ruined my channel. Now, first and foremost, I'm not out here making excuses, for why I don't have a whole bunch of subscribers or a whole bunch of views. This is just my perspective, all right? So when I started my YouTube channel here, as you guys can see, when if you scroll through my videos, I was making videos about cutting my hair and some other men's hygiene topics, all right? So what ended up happening was I decided to branch off and do some shorts because I had never done any shorts before. So I started doing shorts, and I would say several of them were successful. I guess you would want to say they had a lot of views and a lot of likes, like thousands of views. I forget how many likes or whatever, but they did very well. And what I ended up noticing, because I wasn't so focused on getting a thousand subscribers and the watch hours needed to get monetized, to get the AdSense. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna make some random videos and that I think people may like on my shorts and see how it goes. So I made some videos. I deleted them now because I feel like it messed my channel up here on YouTube. But anyway, I made some videos. Several of them were successful, especially one of them. I had a workout video on there and it had a lot of views. And then what I began to notice when I looked at the analytics of my channel, when I looked at the performance of my channel, because I was making shorts for like, I don't remember how long it was. I want to say at least like 2 to 3 months straight. I was just making shorts, and I kind of stepped away from making as many long form videos. And the reason behind that was because I felt like the shorts, they were making, they were getting a lot of views. I was getting subscribers from it and stuff like that. But then come to find out, I'm like, okay, now I'm getting kind of bored of the shorts, and I go back to make long form videos about the same content, about cutting my hair, about masculine hygiene routines and stuff like that. And what I began to notice was my viewership plummeted. It went way down. So I went from getting if you guys look at my videos, you can see for yourself. But I went from getting a decent amount of views, 500, 1,000. I forget the exact number, but I went from getting a decent amount of views each time I uploaded a video to I'm getting two views, 3 views. So I'm like, well, that's kind of strange, So I made another video, and then it got a little bit more views, and that's when I really began to notice, okay, I don't, at least for me, I can't speak for everybody, but that's when I began to notice that, okay, maybe YouTube Shorts is not the way to go, because it seems like with this whole algorithm thing, or however YouTube is doing this, it seems like they want you either to make long form videos only, just do that, or just make shorts. It doesn't seem like the two merge together very well. That's been my experience. Now, sometimes I become curious and I look at other people's YouTube channels that are successful. I look at other podcasts, NBA podcasts, news podcasts and things like that, politics or whatever. And what I noticed with some of their YouTube accounts is that they're very successful with long form videos and shorts. Now, that hasn't been my experience. Well, at least it hasn't persisted. So that hasn't been my experience, but that's been that's been some other people's experience. And that's good for them, but I don't see it being very universal, because even when I look at other content creators, especially like the smaller creators that don't have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but even sometimes when I look at people and they have like 10,000 subscribers or more, or a little bit more than that or whatever. And I look at the patterns. I look at their long form videos, and they have a consistent amount of views, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 each day or whatever. And then you look at their shorts, and again, just looking at patterns, you look at their shorts, and there's, keep in mind, their long form videos have like 2, 3, 5,000 views a day. You go to their shorts, 700 views, 200 views, very minimal views. In other words, the shorts that I see from a lot of other creators, it doesn't match up with the long form viewership. All right. And then also another pattern that I noticed with YouTube. And again, this is not for everybody, but I see this quite consistently, you know. But another pattern that I noticed is that when you go to other creators' YouTube channels, especially like smaller creators like myself, you'll notice that people, they kind of, you may not hear them say this, but just based off of what you see on their YouTube, like they'll have a whole bunch of long form videos, and then with their shorts, it's kind of like they came to the same conclusion that I did. They made a bunch of shorts, maybe they made 50 or 100 or a couple hundred or something like that. Then out of nowhere, they just abruptly stopped making shorts. And I'm under the assumption that they may have came to the same conclusion that I did. They're making shorts, they're trying to build up their subscribers, they're trying to build up their viewership and things like that. But at the same time, it's not working well with the long views. It's affecting the algorithm, I guess you would say. It's affecting who's viewing their channel. You know, they're just getting a bunch of random people scrolling through their shorts, which is good, but it's not correlating with the long form content that they're releasing. Maybe that's been your experience too. Feel free to chime in and let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's something I'm not thinking about correctly. But that's the trend that I've noticed. And the only time that I see channels where the shorts are doing as good as the long content, it's like with people who have a lot of subscribers, like 100,000 plus, 1 million subscribers, things like that. But even with that though, sometimes things just don't match up. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube and the whole algorithm thing and how they recommend videos and things like that. But just based off of that experience, I would just much rather I'd rather just do long form now, just long form only. I've got a whole bunch of ideas for shorts, and it may build up my subscribers, but at the same time, it's like I don't want it to take away from my long form viewership, you know, with watch hours and things like that. Because as you know, if you guys are interested in qualifying for the AdSense, you know, to get monetized, you have to meet that threshold of at least 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And then, as many people know now, you know, come February 1st, 2027, now you'll need 8,000 watch hours. So, you know, that's my take on that. You know, I've even seen, what's the guy's name? I think his name is, what is his name? I believe it's Trey Creates, if I'm not mistaken. I should have looked into that before I made the video. But anyway, I think that's his name. And he talks about how to grow your YouTube channel and things like that. Maybe I'll leave a link to his YouTube channel on here. I mean, I've never worked with him before or anything like that. I've never bought into his program, but I'll leave a link to his YouTube channel in the description of this video. And even him, you know, when I heard him mention it, I'm like, okay, it seems like he knows what he's talking about, you know, with the whole shorts thing and how if you want to make shorts, you should have a separate channel. Okay, make a channel just for shorts, and then make a channel just for long form content. And I think that's a good point. It's just, I thought about doing that, but it's like, just, you know, I don't want to have to keep up with all of that, you know. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Feel free to subscribe to my channel here. I talk about various topics. I cover masculinity. I talk about sports. I talk about cutting my hair, how I do it, you know, how I line my beard up, things like that. I talk about all types of things on my YouTube channel here. I'm just to the point now with the YouTube channel, you know, it's just like, I'm just not gonna have a niche, however you say it. I'm not gonna have a certain category that or a topic that I stick to, you know. So it is what it is. Feel free to chime in. Like I say, feel free to hit that subscribe button. If you want to support the YouTube channel here that I have, I'll leave a link to my Cash App. And if that's something that you want to do, feel free. You know, anything will go towards you know, a camera or a microphone. Totally up to you. Feel free. You don't have to leave anything, but the offer is on the table. So keep tuning in, you guys. I look forward to making more content for you guys, more exciting content. Like I said, I'm just going to be covering all types of topics. So stay tuned in. Shout outs to all of my subscribers. I believe I'm at 554 right now. So thank you guys. I appreciate all you guys just for tuning in and for watching, for commenting, for liking the videos. Feel free to share the videos. What has been your experience with your YouTube channel? I'm assuming that if you're watching this, that you're a creator as well. So feel free to chime in on what your experience has been, especially if you had the same experience as me, where you started off with long form, you started making shorts, and your shorts kind of took off, but then your long